And today, on A Day in the Life of the Power of 3, we will be talking about 5 new D&D 5e spells. The first spell today is Parts of the Construct. Concentration spell, meaning it has the type of magic that summons or conjures things. The casting time of this spell is an average of only one action. The duration of this spell is pretty long, being until the caster dies. The range of this spell is self, meaning you can't cast this on anyone else, so don't try pulling anything with the DM. The components are schematic, meaning you use body or hand movement to cast this spell, along with having material cost being 50 gold pieces or a fourth a pound of any metal. So costly, but mostly permanent. You probably thinking, who cares about all that? Just tell me what the spell does. And so I will. It summons an organ or limb that the caster can dispel. If that organ is not touching the caster, it automatically dispels. Oh, if you are not the race the organ comes from, you can't summon it, meaning you can't give the elf dragonborn fire breath. The second spell today is Brains over Bronze. To begin, this is a second level enchantment spell, meaning that the type of spell buffs or debuffs a creature. The casting time of this spell is a bonus action, meaning it is fast and easy to cast. Its duration is alright, being 1 hour. Its components are verbal, meaning speaking or just using your voice, and schematic, which I explained earlier. This spell adds your strength doubled to your spells, but subtracts your strength doubled from all of your strength-related things, such as checks, saves, and attack rolls. Also, if you have to choose between dex and strength, you must choose strength when attacking or otherwise. The third spell today is Semi-Shift. For starters, this is a third level enchantment spell once again, being the buff or debuff magic. The casting time is an action, being average once again on that front. The duration of the spell is not so great, being 10 minutes. The range is touch, so you can finally now use this to buff your allies. The components are schematic and material, the materials being the small parts of the animal that you are going to transform into. Depending on the DM, this is either the best spell ever, if they're lenient, kind, and nice, or the worst spell ever, if they're rules lawyers, harsh with their rulings, or just overall cruel. What spell does is it adds simple features of the beast that you have a part of, getting small bits of their abilities. It is up to the DM what abilities you do. If you're an eagle, maybe you fly, or maybe you just get talons. Maybe you even just have a beak that does 1d4 peck damage. And also you get your component back at the end of your transformation, like a mini wild shape for every class, just much shorter. The fourth spell today is Animate Undead. A good starting off point, this is a first level necromancer spell, being the magic of death and undeath, probably the most unholy and evil magic. Yet again, this has an average casting time of an action. The duration of the spell is common for summoning spells, being until long rest. The components of this spell being verbal and schematic. This spell animates a dead undead for after somebody raises dead and then you or something else kills it, you may unraise the undead corpse to get an undead creature that uses the same stat block as a skeleton or zombie, but only has 1 HP and no armor class, meaning it always gets hit. But when it dies, it explodes, dealing 2d8 necrotic damage. The fifth, final, and best spell today is Contain Thy Voice. This wondrous spell, really the reason I wanted to make this video to start off with, should start off with a bang. It's a 6th level enchantment spell that can be used in certain situations to dominate a campaign because it's very overpowered, yet still somewhat balanced. It has a normal casting time of an action like 3 other of the 4 spells on this list, and has a very specific duration, which is until given to the original owner of the voice. The range of this painful spell is touch. Its components are schematic and material, the material being a container with a lid that can open and close easily. The effects of this major hex is that you steal the target's voice by containing it in a container, which becomes semi-permanently enclosed while the voice is inside. The creature in possession of this object may speak using the original owner's voice that is trapped inside the container. When obtained by the original owner, they must roll a d4. On a 1, the voice permanently shatters, leaving them voiceless forever. On a 2 or higher, the container shatters, giving them back their voice. The creature does not have to roll a d4 if having a constitution of 19 or higher, but cannot be using any magical items or buffs that buff constitution. This spell has very many uses. A giant political figure in your way? Just threaten to kill them, get the information from them, and then take their voice before they can tell anybody else. Somebody just saw you murder somebody? Take their voice before they can tell anybody. Maybe even murder them too. But giant spellcaster is your villain? Most spells are verbal. Maybe just take away their voice, and all of a sudden, they're not a spellcaster anymore, right? This curse has many baneful, destructive, and painful ways that can hurt a campaign. So don't blame me when your DM hates you. But just say they allowed it in the campaign. Their fault all of a sudden. Oops, forgot to tell you who learns what. Here you go. Link for the spells in the description soon. If you have any questions or advice for us, comment them please, and goodbye.